Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Wall Street Wildlife Investing Podcast. It's Christmas. It's holiday time. Woo! Look at
Merry
you with
Christmas,
your
buddy.
Christmas tree. Your Christmas tree got a badger on your tree, Krzysztof. That's incredible. Look at him.
Look at that mean little bugger.
Yeah. Look, in fact, I seem to have like a photo of your tree unknowingly on my shirt. Who knew?
Cheers. So what you see me doing right now is trying to polish off a little more vodka to get myself ready to start drinking.
Okay. Are you Polish? You're Polish by roots, right? You're not allowed to drink your vodka with ice. Surely that waters it down. You've got to have it.
Right. Need to water it down a little bit.
Store that, Nietzsche, nam. And then bang your vodka.
That's wonderful. So for anyone, I guess, wondering, we are flying by the seat of our pants, kind of like Santa does with his reindeer. We have no idea what the hell is going to happen on this episode.
We're live streaming, and I think we've got two of our Patreons, and we've had a wave from Barry, who is a OG Wall Street
What's up, Barry?
Good man. And Serge. Hey, Serge. Great to have you on the pod. Yeah, we're live. So Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever other holidays we're missing. There's always lots of holidays. So I think first order of business, correct me if I'm wrong, Badger, is we need to start getting drunk.
Yeah, I've been working on that for a little while.
Oh, okay. Right. So I prepared 3 very special recipes. I guess I don't need to start drinking. Recipes. And I'd like to share the ingredients with you all if you want to make your own version, should you have the ingredients on hand.
Nice.
And then I'm going to wander off into the kitchen and start pouring stuff. Actually, before that, let me show you just how prepped I am, because Badger always squeezes my shoes about not being prepped enough. But take a look at this setup right here.
Beautiful.
This is the all the ingredients that are going to make their way, including, look at these.
I can tell you some of the things you're going to make there. I can see a margarita. It might be a Tommy's margarita if you've got agave syrup. Is that?
No, there will be no margaritas.
Oh, okay. All right.
No margaritas. So the first thing I'm making, is called Santa's Pants.
All right. Santa's Pants. Nice.
And to make Santa's Pants, we need 2 ounces of tequila.
Ooh.
We need 4 ounces of hot water. We need 1 ounce of lemon juice, half an ounce of agave honey, half an ounce of Cointreau, and then some cloves and cinnamon sticks to mix it all together.
Well, we'll post that in the show notes if anyone wants to make themselves one, and then pause the episode now, get cooking, boiling the water. I don't know what if you just sterilize something. You making having babies over there or something. I have no idea. But when you get cooking, you're cooking your cocktail, your Santa's Pants. While he's doing that, I've made my drink already. I didn't realize we were making cocktails. I'll tell you what I'm making. So you might remember, if you're a fan of the pod, that Krzysztof lost a bet recently on NVDA earnings, I think it was. And I won this beautiful bottle of vermouth, Kochi vermouth. And I'm making a Christmas take on my favorite drink, which is still the Negroni. So I got some Campari over there. I've got the match-winning vermouth. But my Christmas twist on the Negroni is I've got this British distiller called Tarquin's. And this is Tarquin's Cornish figgy pudding gin. So I've given it a Christmas twist. Anyway, I got mine right here.
Last important ingredient here is the Cointreau.
It's kind of cheating. I'm going to have to go and review the ingredients. The Santa's Pants is basically a Tommy's margarita with hot water. Are you a big drinker?
I am. I go through phases. A lot of the times I prefer being completely clean. And then sometimes, I go off the rails. But no, I would say I'm moderate. I'm mostly moderate. Okay, so so here's what we've made. Look at that. Santa's pants right here with the final coup de grace is some cloves. See these bad boys? Let's see.
Cloves. Yeah, okay. Yep.
Yep. Cloves.
I mean, cloves are Christmassy, that's for sure.
And
cinnamon. Yeah,
voila.
Okay.
Here's to Santa's pants. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, fellas.
And cheers to our Patreons. Thank you so much for, I suppose, believing in us and joining us and making us feel like we've actually have a little family.
So the meat and two veg of today's episode is a review of the predictions that Krzysztof and I made way back at the start of January 2024 in episode 8. We had about 11 or 12 predictions, and we're going to charge through them a bit later in today's episode and score it up as we go. Now, I've got a bottle of pretty dirty tequila that I dug out of the back of the booze cupboard, and I hope you've got something equally, not very nice there, because it's a penalty shot. And whoever the loser is, look at that, we both went.
Well, this is going to be a shot called Santa's Panties.
Santa's Panties, okay. Rumple Mins. All right, you better, sneak peek, both of us didn't do very well. And if we got one wrong, badly wrong, the loser's taking a drink. So make sure you got plenty of Santa's Panties there, whatever that thing was called.
Well, if you're drinking Santa's pants, you got to have a little Santa's panties. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Right. That's how you guys roll in Austin. So anyway, before we get to our review of the year in review, we do have some seasonal-ish questions from our Patreon. So let me hit you up with a couple, Krzysztof, see what you think. We've got a nice question on the Patreon from one of our old friends from 7 Investing Days, Cole. And he wondered what we think the biggest investable technology disruption for the decade ahead is going to be. And he gave us a couple of options. We're going to leave it open-ended for you.
The biggest disruption for the decade. Oh, I remember seeing his options, and one of them struck me as piqued my interest. Can you read the list? Can you read off?
Well, he gave us energy, grid, AI, space, Bitcoin, other. But let's take out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I'm getting more and more into ASTS right now.
Okay. Right.
I believe it was Steve that really kind of nudged me. I mean, I had them on my radar, but information overwhelm and all that. But I've started taking some really deep dives into that stuff, and oh my God, is that fascinating. And by the way, I know you were recommending that SpaceX episode, which I still haven't listened to. Damn it. But it's on my to-do list. So I'm tempted to say that the space stuff is going to be here a lot sooner than later, meaning felt. So for people that might not know what the hell I'm yabbering on about, ASTS, Space Mobile, the game plan is to allow satellites to basically give people cellular coverage like that. And the magic is that you wouldn't need extra equipment. It would work with the equipment you already have.
Yeah.
So the fact that something like that is in the works in the coming year or two, it's almost instantaneous if you're thinking about the change and no longer really needing something like cell towers.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I buy that. I agree with that one. I do think we're going to solve autonomous vehicles in the decade ahead, and that's just going to be such a change to everything. If you think about what's going to disrupt the world the most, that's really, really significant one.
Okay, I guess it's perfectly set up. I was going to hold this in my pocket as I would with some aces in my sleeve, but I just found out 3 days ago that Tesla has already been working with Austin to gain permission to release their, shiny golden robo-taxis on the streets. As in, my backyard might be the first place in the world to actually have these things go live. And we've talked about this quite a bit, but my full self-driving right now is stupidly good. And I'm still on version 12.5, so I still didn't get the latest one, which apparently is, even way better and more natural and all of that. But I already believe Like, here's how I measure this. I think you know what I'm talking about. Even if the technology works, I still, as a driver, right, all my years, I still could never relax while the automated software is doing its thing. So it's pointless, right? Because it's still just,
Yeah, I had to twist your arm to give me like a demo because you were like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. And you were really skeptical.
But now, now I'm using it often enough that I've recalibrated on the inside and I'm trusting it more. And the interventions are way, way, way less. So when I hear that Elon and company, because obviously they're based here in Austin, are, have been already in the works, I would not be shocked, Badger, if by the end of 25, we have some legit self-driving Tesla robo-taxis in Austin.
Yeah, great. Well, and, President Musk, right, has got the power to make that happen. Now, so
that's right. He's president, he's governor, he's mayor, he's all the things. You know what? Actually, when we did our special Tesla, what's it called, the special demo episode, and neither of us were particularly excited. I saw one of those golden robo taxis in whatever the site I used, kind of around the factory here in Austin. It actually looks golden. It kind of does look like it's out of a comic book or cartoon book. You know what I'm saying? And seeing one of those things, I'm just trying to picture like seeing one of those golden cars driving by with nobody in it, with the doors lifting up. I'm like, holy shit, that would be like, that would really be next stage stuff.
I think so. I think we're agreeing that's like a major disruption, to answer Cole's question. And hopefully you can give us like one of the first hot, real demos of someone riding in a robo Tesla.
Oh, oh man, that would be a hell of an episode. I'd even get one of them selfie sticks.
If we get a few more Patreons, we can buy you some more equipment. That'd be awesome.
That's right, Patreons.
Because I think I said this on a couple of episodes ago. Like, I think Krzysztof's desk, like his setup is really nice, but he's got like the laptop like on this rickety thing on his desk. And I used to do all the editing. Like we've now, thank you Patreons for helping us meet some of the costs. We've now outsourced the editing. But he's like banging away on the fucking desk all the time. And I spend all my time pulling my hair out on Monday, like Tuesday, editing out the banging and the creaking and the cracking. So he's like, we're so low tech, he's put like a towel down on the desk and like he bangs the towel. At least that like mutes the sound. Yeah. Even on new editors, like the guy Luigi messaged me and he's like, what is this noise?
That's just a monkey doing what a monkey does.
Yeah.
What is it? You could take a tiger out of the jungle, but you can't get rid of his stripes.
Yeah, something like that. Very good. Did we say this? Like when I came to visit you in Austin, like you were the first time we laid eyes on each other, because we do have actually a nice personal question on the Patreon that just came in from Barry, asking like, where did we both meet? Did we meet at Seven Investing? When did we realize we wanted to start Wall Street Wildlife, and whose idea was it? So just to lead us into that, like when we first met in the flesh, like you'd recommended this really swanky boutique hotel to me, and I was finishing my ski season, and so I dropped into Austin, and then you came over to the joint, and I look outside the window of my my hotel room, and there's this like guy in a monkey suit out there. So you came like fully dressed in your jungle regalia, and I had my tiger onesie like in my suitcase and had to like scramble to try and dig out the tiger onesie just so we could do like an animal embrace.
Right. Love at first sight, really.
Very much
in the flesh, yes.
But so like I've enjoyed your writing for a long time. I had no idea. So we did meet officially. We met at Seven Investing, where we're both lead advisors for like a year and a half. I think you joined in middle of 2022. And when I was introduced to you on the team call by Simon, and we'd sort of chatted for pleasantries for about half an hour, and then Simon mentioned, oh yeah, this guy used to write as, you called yourself CMF Monkey at the Motley Fool boards.
Yeah, no, the CMF was like content moderator, some official position at the Fool.
Yeah.
Then that got changed to XMF former or whatever. Yeah, that was the ticker. Yeah, monkey.
I've been like reading and really enjoying like your monkey content for over 10 years on Motley Fool. Like I'd always tune in and catch those posts because I always found them like an really sort of fascinating take on like a real business concept, but talking about like bananas and trees and like just kind of making it fun, but actually like delivering quite an interesting take on what's potentially often a complex topic. So I'd loved your writing for a long time. And I was blown away when I suddenly realized this guy I've been chatting to for half an hour was that monkey. I had no clue.
Oh, that's so sweet. You know, that's one of those things, right, where it is the bizarre effect of the internet that we might be reaching hundreds or thousands of people, but most of them, unlike our beloved new Patreons, will never say anything or will never, we never know, right? It's kind of like the teacher's conundrum. You don't know the ways in which you impact people until maybe one day you do. So it's awfully sweet for you to tell me that you were reading my posts for such a long time. It feels good to hear that. You know what the skull and crossbones is? I just version of that. I'm just thinking of two of the most popular posts I've ever written were on Apple Computer and CrowdStrike. And both of them, I did not take my own advice.
Okay.
meaning I sold way too early, despite, you know, quote unquote, knowing better. I remember like lambasting you about CrowdStrike, even like this year. Why have you sold this stock? Why have you sold this stock, Krzysztof? And like, I think you said on a previous episode, like the point where you sold and I was shouting at you about what, like buy back in, like that's when it inflected and started to hockey stick again. That's right. That was the second best ever facial expression on our show so far. Maybe the top one is both our faces during the book falling episode. But the one where I told you I sold CrowdStrike, I think we froze that. I think you found it as evidence. Your disgruntled expression of horror and disbelief.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know, I don't know if I told you, but I bought back one share when it dropped. You know, after the debacle. So I am officially a CrowdStrike owner again in a symbolic way.
Yes, I mean, in some bollocks kind of way. That's symbolic. My ass, right? By a proper position. Very good. Well, at least it's on your radar. Anyway, like you've redeemed yourself in the last 2 months because these like bullshit stocks that you've been going on about have suddenly actually come good. And I think I said to you on WhatsApp like a couple of weeks ago, like, thank fuck for that. I was starting to think you were basically like this investing like Jonah who have like hooked my wagon to for the podcast. This guy came down in flames.
Oh my God. Barry, listen, don't believe a word Badger says. To go back to the origin story, though, I think Simon Erickson, the head of Seven Investing, is a really humane, really trustworthy person. I love that about him because, you know, we talk about this all the time in the investing world. There's so many piranhas, you know, just people that will eat you and tell you whatever they need to take advantage of you one way or another. But that's the opposite of Simon on the humanistic level. And when we were talking, you know, before I joined Seven Investing, he actually told me like there's this investor, Luke, you haven't met him yet, but you're gonna love Luke. And he's like, he's this motorcyclist and he's a runner and he's a poker player and he's basically like your more handsome, smarter, more debonair version of you.
I'm pretty sure Simon didn't use any of those adjectives, but I'll take the compliment. Thank you.
But yeah, and then what? And then we started. We wanted to make a go at the at the podcasting gig. So we podcasted for a whole year under the Seven Investing brand.
Yeah. We did No Limit for about it was exactly a year, I think. But I think we both wanted to be like more our authentic selves. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely like a level of professionalism at Seven Investing. Like it's a very serious investing service that tries to make like good quality, long-term stock recommendations, exactly what we want to do. But Simon wants to do it with a certain polish. And so I always felt like, not like fully like back to the corporate days, but I felt like a serious guy. I'm not really a serious guy in the real world. And I can have fun while being an investor. So I guess I encouraged us to, hey, let's just go and let's come up with our own podcast, spin it out separately. We can still affiliate ourselves with Seven Investing, do all that stuff, but we can have at it, and we can just be like our true personalities, and we can drop the occasional F-bomb and stuff because it's just us, right?
You know what's funny about that commentary there is when I'm working with you, I always feel like you were a consummate professional who, is always behind Patreons, for what it's worth, behind the scenes. Badger holds a mean whip and he's always making Monkey jump through all kinds of hoops and doing stuff. And so, talk about professionalism. I mean, you really are you know how to do professional things. I'm just a hobo off the street, man. I barely get out of my hammock on a good day.
You say that. Don't forget, I've sat in 2 of your lectures at Texas State University with 2 groups of adoring students who've shown up to be educated. Like, they don't come to listen to some hobo who just climbed out of his hammock. You might look like that right now with that stupid fucking beard, but there's something behind the beard. There's a proper brain in there.
So right, yeah. Then we start our own brand, and so it's been just a little bit over a year. This is such a good topic because when you've been doing something like investing for so long, 27 years for me. Shit, wait, am I that old? Yeah, I started when I was 17. So fuck, 28 years. My God. It's easy to burn out, or it's easy to give up, or it's easy to just lose interest in having something like this. Honestly, I'm not just saying this shit. Having something that keeps you in the game, whether it's friendship or camaraderie or a podcast where you're responsible for something, is huge.
Totally. I agree. Like I had a podcast before Seven Investing, which is Telescope Investing, with my buddy Albert. And when I think I realized I'm a planner, and I realized before I retired from HSBC, from like the corporate job, and I worked there for like 25 years. I was there for like a chunk of time. And I realized you don't just like, I just about had enough money to think I can probably now like manage my way to the point where my actual pension kicks in. I can bridge that even if things go a little bit badly, and they did go badly. Like I was down 40% like 6 months after I quit. But I realized you don't just need like the money, you need a purpose, you need like a reason. If you don't have a sense of purpose, like fuck, you probably the best outcome is you're just going to live this like hedonistic lifestyle and just kind of burn out in a totally different way. And so so like podcasting became my purpose, and now like that is absolutely the case. But I've realized now, having done this for like over 3 years, it makes me a better investor, because like even just stupidly, right? Like if I'm making investment decisions for myself, and I talk about all this stuff all the time. Like I try and go slow, and I have a to-do list, and I bounce stuff off my buddy Albert, and sometimes off you these days before I trade. But like if I didn't do that stuff, sometimes I'll just make like a quick decision, or it won't be a well thought out decision. And I know now, like I want to be transparent on Twitter, and I want to be transparent on the pod about anything I do in my own portfolio. And so I have to be able to explain it in a way that makes sense. So I've really got to get precise with my reasons for why I did something or didn't do something. So just the pod makes me make better decisions. And that's like, frankly, that's money in the bank, right? That's percentages on the CAGR, because I'd make better decisions, or at least I'm more accountable to myself.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I see Serge agreeing with the purpose 100%. Yeah, I think the next level, God, this was one of the best quotes I think we came across in our first 2 years. Whoever it was that said, like you could be the one person in your family that changes the trajectory of your family's financial freedom or something like that. And it doesn't have to necessarily be about you being the guy that makes all the money, but if you somehow become serious about investing, but then you share your love or passion with, say, your brother, your sister, your nephews, nieces, whomever, but you're serious and it's not a one-off kind of thing, then the way that will alter the kind of generational thing is hard to perceive in the moment, but purpose, right? It gives you it's, you get up out of bed, not for yourself, but I mean, this is spiritual. This is, I'll go ahead and say this is like a kind of religious, spiritual metaphysics that is beyond money, even though the money is how you keep score.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. Yeah. And I'm definitely trying to do what you just described with like a number of family members who've got kids, like just helping put my money where my mouth is and kind of lead them on that journey a little bit. And there's like some young kids in my extended family now who actually, they're in like a pretty decent financial position, and they're still like 7, 8, 9 years old, because we've started doing this stuff where we're starting to invest for them, and I'm trying to help the parents figure that stuff out. So yeah, it is making a difference. And
we already recorded our investing for parents and kids episode. So we thought it was pretty good, right? We were happy with ourselves after that. So look forward to that.
Great. All right. So should I hit you another question, or should we do like the year in review, or what do you want to do next?
Yeah, let's hit a couple of okay. So a couple of decisions have to be made, because apparently Monkey's going to fall off his bar stool way sooner than expected, because this very alcohol dense drink is almost gone. So I need to get to round 2. But all right, let me slow down. Why don't we start the end of year review? Do a couple of those.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like it. We'll do it piece by piece. So, like, if you want to hear the original conversation, go back to episode 8. But I'm going to sort of recap.
See that I think it was Barry, right? Was it Barry or Steve that Barry, right? Went and re-listened to episode 8.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah.
That's some serious. That's like Barry, man, brother.
Well, I think Barry's here and he's going to keep us honest, right? So yeah, I think we've sort of figured out what we said from like a year ago.
Yeah,
but Barry, if we get something wrong, because I kind of half-assed figuring out who the winner of each thing was earlier. Like, if you get it wrong, tell us in the comments.
That's right. By we, you got to keep Badger honest.
Yeah.
There's no. That's right. That's right. Amen. By them, meaning Badger.
Yeah. Well, so I'm going to do a bit of a screen share, because I think we're going to end up sharing a couple of pickies. All right. So our first question in the year in review was like a macro question, and it was all about which country will have the greatest GDP growth throughout the course of 2024. Mm-hmm. And I believe I said India will lead, thinking about strong demographics. And you also said India. And we both actually interviewed a guy who was like the founder of like Indians investing investment group. So India was definitely in our minds. So let's go to our backup picks, because we both said India. And India's GDP growth was 7%, I think. Year to date 2024, or at least that's the official figures. Probably that's actually up to October. They're the official public figures. So if we go to our backup picks, so I'm going to claim an interesting win here. You went with Mozambique. Mozambique was 4.3% GDP growth, so that's like the bottom end of the table. I picked Macau, I think, and Macau is number 2. In the number 2 country at 10.6%. So I think that is a substantial win for Badger.
That's pretty good. Where is Macau? I'm not even familiar with this country.
It's like another, like Hong Kong is the special administrative republic
Yes.
or whatever administrative region of like China. So Macau is another one of those. It's China, but it's got its own special legislation and rules, and it's like Las Vegas of like East Asia.
It's kind of sort of not really a country. It's like one of those.
It's a country. Well, it appears in the GDP tables.
Barry, is it a country or is it not a country? Your word will decide the matter for good.
No, it's my point. 1 point for Badger. It definitely appears in the the IMF's published data. So
okay, so the winner was. So you get the point. What Guyana though?
Yeah.
That's a African country, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Right? Is that one of those little coast countries in the?
No, I think it's I'm not good at geography. It's somewhere in mainland Africa, I think, Guyana.
Let me do a.
Well, anyway, maybe we got the geography completely wrong. But anyway, go on, sorry.
Guyana is South America.
Oh yes, sorry, yes, of course. So you're right.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, they massive GDP growth. But anyway, regardless, we probably here you go. Let's both take a penalty shot because I think we both convinced each other that Guyana was in Africa as opposed to South America. So get your dirty Santa's knickers or whatever it is.
Oh wow! Oh honey. Oh my goodness. This is going to be painful, isn't it? This is going to be so painful.
Okay. So while Krzysztof is getting his drink together, he owes us a shot. I'm not going to forget. Don't worry. I will take us into question 2. So prediction 2 was, where will US central bank interest rates be at the end of this year? And at the time of recording, they were 5.25% to 5.5%. And Krzysztof's prediction was for 6% interest rates. There we go. I see the shot. Good man. Very good. And Badger's prediction was 4.5%. And it looks like you're going to have to be topping up that shot glass again, Mr. Krzysztof.
Oh, no.
I'm afraid it's a resounding 2-0 to Badger because I nailed it with 4.5%. Because as of 2 days ago, the Fed cut the Fed rate, the reserve rate, down to a range of 4.25 to 4.5%. So I'm on the button. You should take 10 shots. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Hey, all right. By the way, the shot that I'm taking is really surprisingly good. I did my research, ladies and gents. I don't think I went through the ingredients. I kind of did a half-cocked one. I'm going to do a more official one at the end of this. But what I am pouring into this here glass is 1/2 ounce of Bailey's and 1/2 ounce of peppermint schnapps, which is, I bought the fancy kind because there's some bottom stuff.
Does that not curdle? I guess it didn't.
No, it did not. This is called Rumple Mints. And by the way, I had the bottom shelf bottle, for $11 in my hand with the really gross picture of a peppermint corn, and I put it down and I did the decent thing. But anyway, half and half gets you Santa's panties.
There's a really nasty penalty shot we used to drink when we were playing like drinking games way back when I was young, even younger than you are today, and it was called a brain hemorrhage, I think. But it's not dissimilar to what you got there. It's Bailey's, and I think Midori, which is like a mint.
Oh,
but they do curdle, and the Bailey's ends up like it's like drinking vomit, like that sort of consistency. Oh. It's really nasty, and it doesn't taste great, and it's grim anyway. But luckily, your Santa's knickers didn't curdle. Well done.
Santa's knickers.
Yeah. Paolo in the chat says drink, and I think he's aiming that one at you. Someone keeps score. I'm not watching his lips to see how much of that drink goes in. Actually, go slow because we've got quite a few questions to get through. Plus a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't want you falling out of your chair and then like catching fire on the tree or something behind you. Did we? Oh yeah, I nailed that one. 2 points to Badger. It's 2-0.
2-0 Badger. Damn it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to question 3. We were going to pick a black swan event that we thought would impact financial markets, so geopolitical anything, but something like out of left field. I believe my prediction was for that tactical nuclear weapons get used in Ukraine or the Middle East. And Monkey's prediction was Taiwan-China conflict or US election upheaval. So we're both we were both going pretty dark with our predictions on that one.
I'm glad we were wrong.
Yeah, thank fuck. We were wrong. So yeah, we both lose.
Do you think we're closer to any of those outcomes going into 25? I mean, I think I said my thing because I finished reading Chip War. By the way, if you have not read Chip War, I forget the guy's name. That is one of the better books I've read in some years about just how dependent everything is on chips and how this technology is influencing geopolitics like nothing else. And maybe I had that on my mind, fresh after having read it, and I thought, oh shit, China's, making waves in the sea with their navy, and Taiwan's isolated. It was a top issue that people were talking about nonstop, right? Somehow it's died down, maybe. Yeah. As far as I
feel like we've walked back from the precipice a little bit. Like I'm no huge fan of Mr. Trump, but I think he does just by virtue of his manner, he probably de-escalates this stuff for good or bad reasons. But I feel like we're stepping back from the brink a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I don't care with stuff like this. I actually don't care how the job gets done if it gets done, right? I mean, we're talking about the end of human civilization here. So whatever, right? Whatever gets the job done. So fingers crossed. I'm glad we were wrong on both of these. Next.
Yeah, next. Absolutely, yeah. So we're still 2-0 to the Badger. Right. The next one is a kind of 2-part question, and maybe then we'll go do something else and we'll come back and finish off. So the next one, I'm going to chuck the screen share back on because it was about the Magnificent Seven: Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Tesla. And we were going to predict the biggest outperformer and the biggest underperformer. So I predicted that the biggest outperformer would be Alphabet. You predicted Tesla for the biggest outperformer. So pretty good going. Tesla definitely outperformed Alphabet. So that's a point to Monkey, a shot for Badger. Although they both paled compared to NVIDIA. NVIDIA, 177% market cap gains, nearly tripled just this year. And that was from a super high base. And then you can keep that chanting going because I went for the biggest winner. I went for NVIDIA as the biggest underperformer, thinking they were doomed because I've been trimming like an idiot. So I definitely lost that one. I went for NVIDIA as my biggest underperformer. You went for Meta. And the biggest underperformer was Microsoft, only yielding 17%. To be honest, if your whole portfolio did plus 17% in a normal year, you'd be pretty happy with that, to be honest. But
so, okay, 2 points here. That's astonishing, given the levels from which the companies were starting, right? I mean, that's mind-boggling. This is, in a way, a kind of problem with capitalism. I'm not going to go off too far off the rails in that way, but nobody's catching these fuckers anymore.
Ooh, I don't know if that's true, but that's a separate conversation.
Let me rant for a little bit. Just if AI is the thing, right, and you need hardware juice to keep the lead, which involves capital, there's only the handful of the companies that have enough to play the game, right? Anybody else is going to get killed. So in that sense, right, if you're not already in the top 7, you're done. I don't know if I have anything smarter to say besides that. Oh yeah, the other point though was it's so astonishing that it's they're starting from such high levels already, and to get a mere 17% from whatever the hell Microsoft was at, that's nuts. That's nuts, and that's one of the reasons I sold off NVIDIA, because I was like, they're already so huge, it's not possible to gain 100%, right, from a multi. But I was wrong.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we both were. Yeah. So well played. While you were ranting, I did my penalty shot, but it's now 2-2. I think the score is now 2-2.
Okay, that's good. That's good. You get more cheery and less mean when you drink. So keep going. But you know what? I think going into 25, now that the levels of the market caps are even higher, mm-hmm. I don't know how what a reasonable expectation going into 25 for the Magnificent Seven is.
Yeah, like my money's on either like dividend stocks doing like better, or fixed income, because to be honest, I honestly still think the ass is going to fall out of the market at some point. I've just got no idea when. But if we just look at sort of growthy side of things, like this has got to be small cap, like time to shine, just to play catch up. So I'm definitely trying to focus my investments on like smaller, slightly more volatile, a bit, not quite in the absolute dog pile that your portfolio seems to exist in, but smaller companies, small quality is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see how you'll navigate this in real time, because this is tricky. This is really tricky, like selling excellent companies because of valuation reasons, and you never know. And so stay tuned for live Badger updates on how he navigates these tricky waters. Yeah. But anyway, the lesson here is, right, I guess if the product is so revolutionary and it's changing the world before our eyes, maybe it's like the optimists in the world unite, and it could be way better than we even thought. So
should we which one do? Should we carry on with the quiz? We've got, I think it's about 11 questions. We did 4 of them. Or do you want to take a byline and make a cocktail? I'll do something different.
I still have a tiny little bit of Santa's pants.
Okay. So
let me finish this. Let's take a question. Let's take one of the questions from.
All right, so I got one that I this is just for you. There was a philosophy question somewhere. Okay, it's on the Patreon. Paolo said, "What kind of investor would Nietzsche be?" If I pronounce that correctly. If he could invest in today's stock market, what might his top 5 holdings be, and why would he be investing in crypto?
That is such a damn good question, Paolo. When I read that, I was like, oh man, I did an exercise similar to this. Like I was before the election thinking like, who would Nietzsche vote for? So let me give a very short background. I think for anybody listening, Nietzsche, who wrote in his peak work is like, call it 1870s, 1880s. So think of Europe in that time period. It's basically when there were some wars beforehand, but we're basically before World War I. So things are looking, I don't know, Europe is like in the age of enlightenment. We're past, science is doing its thing. Darwin already did his thing. Nietzsche is the guy, I think, who is he's the most beautiful philosophical writer of all time. He's as good as someone like Camus. And
can you, like, these references are going to be lost on me, so can you relate him to like a modern day film director or something?
He's a beautiful writer. Let's keep it simple. He's kind of like he's at home as much in psychology and literature as he is as a philosopher. Because some philosophers, they're painful to read because they're deliberately abstract. And if you're a contemporary person today, looking for a good philosopher to kind of shake up your life, to really shake up like what you think life is and how to live it as well as it can be lived, Nietzsche is your guy.
Okay. Right.
I mean, he's just he's
So
just
anyway, let's cut to the question then. So what would Nietzsche be invested in?
it's not what he would be invested in. It's like what kind of investor would he be? Now the interesting thing about him is that he had his main problem. He had many problems, but let me see how I could explain this. He thought his whole project was how to help humanity become better. So how does humanity just, like, we make all kinds of assumptions as to what humans even are or what we do, right? So he kind of knocked down a bunch of assumptions, especially around morality, but I won't talk about that. So would Nietzsche be an investor in the first place? Is kind of interesting because what he ended up doing in his day-to-day life, he actually was a professor from a very young age, 24, and then he said, fuck that. He's like, I can't be bothered to like report to all these administrators. And he ended up walking in the Swiss Alps for like 6 to 8 hours a day, just walking. Seriously. He would wake up and he would walk and think and walk and think and write and then go home and like write his thoughts down. He's like really serious about about a certain way of living. He hated crowds. He hated this idea of like the bourgeois sort of like how to say this, like people that fell into like a kind of comfort and groupthink, like where you stop living, right? Where you stop really living and you just kind of follow what everyone else is doing and like that kind of
It's
thing.
like if he's going to be an investor, he's like a contrarian investor.
Kind of, right? In that way. And I don't know if he would care enough to invest in the first place.
Okay.
Like he was fine living kind of on the border of poverty just because walking in the Alps for 6 to 8 hours a day was more important to him. But of course he depended on others for pensions and like, and like so I don't know if he would be an investor. But the second question is better. The second half is maybe more appropriate. Would he be a crypto investor? Hell yes, he would be a crypto investor.
Right.
Because that whole part of that project is about being your own sovereign man. Like not doing what the corporate banks tell you or what your limits are. It's like, no, if you really want to be, take charge of your finances and like be your own bank, I mean, that's kind of the promise of crypto, right? And that's what the technology. I bet you. Here's the quotable quote: Nietzsche would have been a Bitcoin maxi. He would have been off his rocker for Bitcoin. Quote that. Quote it. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first.
As a build on that, Serge has just asked us, can we name our top 3 legendary investors that we admire? I don't know if I'll start us off. Well, I'm gonna sidestep the legendary because one of the best investors I know is my buddy Albert. He's just got it. He's played it very smart. He retired before me. He's made some very good decisions. He's now like super risk off, but it makes sense because his attitude is like I'm now in this wealth preservation mode. Yeah. He hasn't got seduced by the game and some of the fun stuff that comes with being an investor. Like he's a poker player. We play poker quite a lot over the many decades. But yeah, he's made smart decisions for him and his family. You got a legendary investor you admire?
Yeah, I think here's the trap for this question. We could list off a bunch of famous investors, right? And it wouldn't really add anything new to the conversation. I think the way you answered it is better, Badger. Like, do we know people who played this game for the right reasons, however they defined it, and then won and were content with that win? And here's something that comes to the top of my head. Like there's some story I can't name. I don't know who this person was. Like a low-level secretary worked at some admin company, but what she ended up doing is just saving her paychecks without saying a peep to anybody, right? and did this for 25 or 30 years, right? Just living very frugally, saving and investing. Maybe it was an index. And when she died, she left some staggering amount of money to whatever charity that was in her will. I think that has more impact for me than like naming a Buffett or, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I think it is worth calling out one or two names, though, for maybe not because they're like legends or have had like these staggering returns, but I just really like their principles. And it's two guys, like David Gardner, like one of the founders of the Motley Fool. I just, you know, he's a pretty public figure, and he's very clear and transparent about his approach to investing. And that's how I became an investor. Like, I read their Motley Fool Guide to Investing like in the 1980s or something, and that got me on this path. And then actually there's a British guy called Terry Smith, and I think he's probably like, I understand he might have punched out one of his board members or something once. Like, he's a bit of a like rough and tumble kind of guy, so you know, maybe he's not the kind of guy I'd want to get to know personally, but he runs Fundsmith, like a fund in the UK you can invest in. And like, whenever anyone comes to me and says, oh, like, Luke, I'm just starting investing, like, what should give me some reading list? I say, go read the Fundsmith, I think they call it the owner's manual, and then like go read a couple of Terry's like annual letters. And just his principles are just very, very robust, and they're really aligned with my own around like finding good quality investments and then just like buying and holding for the long term. So I do want to shout out those two names because I think they're good ones.
Yeah, and forgive me, that's great, Badger. Forgive me, I will say the obvious one, but for good reason. Buffett, because of the essays that he writes and, you know, the shareholder letters. I mean, this is like investing 101. If you haven't done this yet, get yourself a compilation of Buffett's letters and just ask yourself how he's thinking. Forget the companies, forget any of that specific stuff. Like, talk about a principle. I mean, the guy was obsessive, actually, for you know, like, I would never want to live that kind of life. He had no life. His family life suffered because he was so obsessed with, like, you know, being the world's best investor. But man, some of those principles are just like wise. There's so much wisdom in that stuff. So forgive the clichédness of this, but it's like one of these things every investor should do. I think there's a compilation I have. It's this green book, Buffett's annual collection of annual shareholder letters or something like that.
Cool. All right. Very good. Yeah. I guess, yeah, definitely honorary mention to him and Munger, who's now the dearly departed.
And I read at some point, there's this book about Munger and Buffett's mental models. I forget what it's called, but it's like how the way you frame certain problems alters the outcome you're going to get, and that's really worth reading. I should find what the title of that book is. It's
probably like under the desk now. It's been buried after that collapse of books 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Speaking of, why
don't you go refresh your cocktail, and I'll carry on, and I'll march us through a couple more of the year-end predictions while you go make cocktails if you need to.
Okay, so what I'm about to make is Monkey's hot chocolate.
Oh, all right, sounds nice.
And that is a cup of hot chocolate with 2 ounces of Bailey's Irish cream, topped with all kinds of goodies.
So it's another drink with like hot, like non-alcoholic things in it. Hot chocolate, hot water in the first one.
Well, all of that was mixed with like a staggering amount of alcoholic stuff.
Okay.
Like tequila and punch.
Okay.
Right now, I'm seeing 3 of you.
Okay, get cooking. Get cooking. Go get cooking, Krzysztof. And while you're doing that, turn us around so we can see you cooking. But I'll pick us up on the year in review. So the next question was a really interesting one, and I'm going to screen share in a minute for this one. It was Tesla versus BYD. BYD is the big Chinese auto manufacturer. They do like hybrids and gas cars as well, but they're also like a massive producer of electric vehicles, and they're definitely a competitor to Tesla. So the bet was who's outselling who by year end. And do you know what? So at the time of the bet, Tesla was doing $96 billion a year in revenues. BYD was doing $82 billion. Monkey took the safe path and backed Tesla, saying they'd retain their dominance. Badger got his claws into BYD and said they would surpass them. Do you know the answer to this one?
Say that again.
Do you know Tesla versus BYD? Do you know who will be the biggest, or who is the biggest now?
Oh yeah, it's Tesla.
No, it's not.
What?
Look how freaking close this is. So this is when we bet here on the orange line. Look at that. So literally, as of the most recent reporting, which is both a couple of months ago, so probably there'll be a year end. Tesla's up to $97.15 billion revenue. BYD is up to 97.22. There's only literally $75 million in it. It's that close, but Badger wins.
What?
Pretty sure that's correct. Maybe it's changed by year end. But...
Can we fact check this?
Yeah, Barry, fact check us. But I'm pretty sure that's a point to Badger. Making the scores.
There's shenanigans going on here.
Making the scores a magnificent 3-2. Beautiful. You owe us a shot. I might let you off the shot because I think you're struggling with your.
It's a tie. It's a tie. If anything, it's a tie. Outside your manipulation.
I'm keeping official score here. All right, but you carry on cooking. Look at you. You're literally making breakfast there. That's not a cocktail.
Okay, so hot cocoa, Bailey's. Oh yeah, this is.
Look, I'm keeping it real here with just a beer. One of my favorite breweries, Beavertown Gamma Ray. They got a. Well played, literally. So I get for dropping my beer before I open it. I've just spewed Gamma Ray all over my wooden floor. So it's going to get me in trouble with Katrina. Oh, fuck it. In fact, knowing I don't want to fuck my floor. I don't want to run off to get a towel. The Badger jumper needs to go in the laundry anyway because I was wearing it at the Christmas party last night. So it's now a Badger floor mop. There we go. Right, good. So next question, while you finish your cooking there, your hot chocolate, tech titans. So we were both going to make a prediction about a major news item in the world of big tech. And I predicted some sort of antitrust action leading to Alphabet or Apple or one of the big ones like that having to divest their app stores or do something significant. Monkey predicted AGI coming sooner than expected, but not within 2024. Like neither of us really. Is it fair? I'm going to give myself a half point here. I think I was probably closer than you. Yeah, I sort of buy it with the AI tools, but we're nowhere near AGI, right?
I think I get like 3/4 of a point for this.
I don't think so. But I'm going to give myself, because there have been some major antitrust, like Google's now being, obviously Trump might wind that back, but they're now being challenged around divesting Chrome, I think. So anyway, I'm the official scorekeeper. The official score is Monkey 2, Badger 3.5.
What? Is our peanut gallery keeping track of all this? Are we keeping Badger honest while I'm making the world's best cocktail? By the way, I'm at the chocolate shaving stage.
Barry is keeping us honest, and he agrees BYD did beat Tesla.
No, Barry, come on, brother. Fake news.
Yeah. We got a good question from Serge, but maybe it's one for next year's predictions, which is Tesla Robotaxi versus Waymo. Who wins? Yeah, we can make a prediction around that perhaps when we do our predictions for 2025. I'm still mopping stuff up here. I've got literally beer everywhere. At least there's not whipped cream all over the place, like Krzysztof's bedroom. Right, let me take us on to the next question because you're clearly still doing some cooking there or something. The next question was the S&P biggest winners. And I think the question was like, pick a company which is going to make the biggest gains, or maybe even be like a new entrant to the S&P, but basically like the biggest market cap increase. And on the back of a potential crypto revival, which has come to pass, Krzysztof went for Block, formerly known as Square, and Badger, probably thinking about those tactical nuclear weapons, went for Lockheed Martin. So
both of those picks have what were we?
Yeah, pretty epic foul for both of us, to be honest. Like the winner of the S&P, or the biggest gainer, was a defense-y company. I think it was Palantir. With look at that beautiful cocktail. It's now been made. It's got marshmallows. Yeah, okay. I mean, I can't see any alcohol. I'm just going to trust you that there's alcohol in there.
Oh, this whole thing is vodka with a little bit of cream on top.
Okay, all right. I'm worried about your waistline. You know, like if you go into like coronary cardiac arrest or something on the podcast, at least that'll go viral.
Yeah, right. That's the whole point, right? Oh, yeah. Look!
I'll have like a world-leading podcast that's gone viral, but my co-host.
I just want to double down on this. See, it's the attention to detail.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a Peanuts themed. Yeah. What's that guy called? The little bird. What's his name? Tweety Pie or something? Is it Woodstock? Woodstock. Paolo says it's Woodstock. That's right.
Thanks, Paolo.
Thank you. Yeah, Woodstock the canary or whatever the hell he is on a marshmallow. So Krzysztof's going to eat Woodstock live on the pod. Anyway, going back to the question, like Palantir was the big winner. Like our two horses were like way down in the race. So your horse Block returned 16% over the course of the year. Pretty bad, but mine was much worse.
That was a bad call for two reasons. Because even with Bitcoin performing the way it did, Block still couldn't do better than 16. Not that 16's bad, but yeah. bad call, monkey.
Well, not as bad as mine. Lockheed Martin only yielded 3%, so didn't beat the market by a long chalk. And I'm going to take a shot. Like I've definitely lost this. I think you can have a half a point for yours. Like it's a win is a win. You beat me, but we both got owned by the market. But I'm gutted because I actually said in the episode, I did skim the transcript. I said I'm tempted to go with Axon Enterprise, and damn it, they are the fifth biggest return overall in the whole S&P. So that would have been an awesome pick. And
it's amazing, actually, to your great credit, you own both Palantir and Axon. That's so the top and the fifth choices, you own two of those. Like you keep that up.
Well, three. Got NVIDIA. NVIDIA's number 3. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah,
that's quite a fun question. How far down the list do we have to go before we get to a Krzysztof holding? Let me hit you some.
Well, those are only S&P 500 companies, right? So I stay.
Well, you're in Tesla, right? Tesla, 23rd.
Yes.
Okay.
23rd. Okay, that's not bad.
That's okay. I've got number 1, 3, and 5. Yeah. Okay. Very good. 23rd. That's okay. 23rd place. That's fine. Well done. Well done. All right. Anyway, I've got to take a shot because Lockheed Martin. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you lost that too, because your thesis was because the world's blowing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we gave you half a point. I think the scores are 2.5 monkey, 3.5 badger. As we go into question 8, should I continue with this? Should we wrap this up, this bit? Let's do it. Let's carry on. Let's get this closed. Right. Broken thesis question. We're going to make a wild prediction on a major company failure in 2024. Do you remember what you went for?
I'm afraid I do. I'm afraid I do.
Remind us.
I said NVIDIA.
Correct.
And see, hindsight, damn it. Like in hindsight, you're like, how could you have been so mad? But in the course of in the history of NVIDIA, that company has lost something like 50% or more multiple times, on the verge of bankruptcy multiple times. I mean, like, chip stocks, cyclical, right? And it was having all these issues with crypto. And like, so it's not like in the moment, it was like a preposterous answer,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
It's
I agree.
just that, then the world went another way, and that was a stupid answer. That was like,
Yeah, it could have been smart. Could have been smart, but But no, anyway, you lost. Mine wasn't much better. Like I'm going to take. Maybe I'll give myself half a point for this. So I went with WeWork, and I think my position was like we all knew they were screwed. My position was like they're going to fail, but the brand might revive post restructuring, and that I think that's sort of happened. So in May this year, it looks like there's some news that they proposed some sort of plan to come out of bankruptcy and then like relaunch. I think they're still a listed company in the pink sheets, so I don't know what happened about that. But basically, like the bankruptcy proceedings got canned. So I'm kind of right. Like it's not a great prediction. It wasn't spot on. But I'm giving myself another half a point. So 2.5 monkeys, 4 badgers. A commanding lead. It might be too late for you to come back.
hey, are our listeners keeping track of the score sheet?
I am. I think I'm correct. Well, Barry will tell us if I'm wrong, but I think it's 2.5 monkeys.
All right, Barry. The ethics and the responsibility of keeping the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only way you're going to come out here is if you win all of the remaining questions. There's only 3 questions left. Let's power through them. Now, the first one, you're looking pretty good. Let me do a screen share here. It's EOS. EOS Market Cap. So EOS was a $218 million company at the start of this year. And the prediction was, like, where will their market cap be at the end of the year? And I said they would be broadly flat. No, in fact, I said they would decline. I said they'd decline to $100 million.
So you expected a 50% decline.
Correct. Whereas you predicted a 3x, which was ludicrous. How could they possibly 3x? Well, they didn't 3x. They nearly 4x'd. They're now a nearly $1 billion company.
I underperformed. They hit $1 billion on Friday.
Oh, right. Awesome. Great.
Yeah, and for the record, listeners, at this moment, because of this recent spike, EOS is about 50%. It's close to 50% now of my King of the Jungle portfolio. That's 0.1. That's maybe neither here nor there. I gotta say this. I think this is important. There is no company I have ever researched or put more time in than this one. And I was wondering in hindsight, like, why? Like, why? It's some combination of all trends, every once in a while, kind of like NVIDIA, right? Multiple trends align. And the company that takes advantage of these multiple tailwinds, if they can pull it off, you're looking at world-changing, going from a little baby to a blue chip. And that's what I saw in EOS. And so, there's a difference between starting an investment like NVIDIA, where they're already, $500 million. Billion. Mm-hmm. And then like being shocked, oh my God, now they're $1 trillion, versus being 200 million and thinking they could become 50 billion or whatever. I have never been more confident in EOS as an investment than I am now, even after these gains. So I think that's important to know. And it's a real pickle, actually, how I'm going to manage the King of the Jungle portfolio, because I expect EOS, that's too strong. In the next 2 years, this price might seem like peanuts. But then what do I do if it's like all of a sudden 85% of my portfolio and I don't want to sell a single share? Yep. Right? So it's an interesting quandary, but I'm glad I underperformed by saying it's a mere 3x.
Great. Good. It's nice to see you pull yourself out of the gutter. But you do win this one. And when I untangle myself from cables, I owe you a tequila shot. Question 10. So the scoreline, Barry says, scoreline seems fair. So he agrees. And we've given you a point there. You're now 3.5 monkey to 4 badger. Question 10 was cryptocurrency. Where will Bitcoin be in dollars by year end? And when we made the bet, it was about $43,500. I predicted Bitcoin would be flat. Krzysztof predicted it would double to $80,000.
I underperformed again.
You did underperform again. Yes, exactly.
Pessimism.
Yeah. It was $100,000 briefly. It's currently 97,000 and change. But
It was 108,000 briefly.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Very good. Yeah. So you've taken the lead. Monkey 4.5 to Badger 4. Can I pull it back with the very last question? Let me cue up some tequila. The last question was:
Do you have a helmet nearby for I don't want you tripping and falling. And
I'm a Brit. I don't have my boys. Don't worry about that. I said, to be honest, it's deliberately. I knew where the score was going. It's deliberately quite a small damn glass. I knew it'd be going very badly wrong for me in the final innings or whatever you guys call that in your football game. So last question was: we were going to make a speculative prediction about the progress of AI in 2024. Like, what would it be possible to do with AI? I said you would be able to have a personal digital assistant, basically like a PA, built into your phone or your device, and they can schedule tasks, like schedule calendar events and do like PA stuff. And Krzysztof said, predicted that entrepreneurs would run entire businesses solo using AI tools. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it to you. I think your prediction is correct. Like we are seeing that. I have a buddy doing that right now, for real, just a solo act, and hopefully he's building what could be quite a nicely scaled company. And right now, I still can't do jack shit on my phone, despite all the Gemini intelligence. It's coming soon. It's close. But it's not here yet.
Yeah, no, this is, thank you for your honesty with this one. That's, it's a testament to your character. For investing purposes, I think I brought this up in some previous episode, Badger, but I think both of us need to get serious and try to figure out how soon AI will come for all those SaaS companies. If you don't know what I'm talking about the acronym SaaS. Subscriptions as a service companies, of which
software as a service.
And back in 21, that was the majority of my portfolio. You still have a strong cohort of those companies, but as a non-AI expert on the inside, I can't tell you right now with confidence that a company like Datadog, for example, will or won't be disrupted.
Oh, they will. I say confidently they will get disrupted.
They will.
Wazoo. I've actually just made a venture capital investment into a company in that similar space, and I got out of Datadog at the same time. Like, I absolutely think they are going to get disrupted.
Okay, so I asked a similar question, and this is going to get us way off in a different line, but I think we should think about this seriously. CrowdStrike is another example, because we know part of their secret sauce is their AI foundations, right? We think in this moment that because it's cybersecurity, it's somehow not exempt exactly, but because no one's going to mess with cybersecurity, and like the pivots a company has to do might be worth, cost them more than. Anyway, there's a bunch of complications because of cybersecurity, but I'm not confident that companies won't figure out a way to mimic what CrowdStrike does, even though it breaks part of the thesis, the network thesis, right? I mean, it's...
the score line says I've cheated a bit in terms of the tequilas. I've probably had 3 or 4. I've had a few tequilas. Absolutely not. There's no way they get disrupted by AI. I think I can still make a cogent argument as to why not. Like,
let's hear it.
Okay, all right. I mean, let me have a go at this. So
we'll edit it if you say nothing.
Their secret source is like the wisdom of crowds, right? It's in the name, CrowdStrike. And when one of their customers gets attacked, like their cloud thing learns about that, and then instantaneously, essentially, like as soon as they have a way to prevent that issue, like close down that port or whatever that is, or patch that bit of software, like they're rolling out that fix across the entire network to all customers pretty much in like kind of real time. There's no, download today's hotfix patches and, virus signatures. You can't do that with AI, right? Unless talking literally like AGI, and it's literally overseeing like everything. But with current AI tools, if I got attacked, there's no way like any AI tools today will go, okay, Luke has been attacked in this way and he has these kind of services running, and then we're going to tell all the other AIs how to repair like Krzysztof's like firewall and protect him from that specific targeted attack.
I want to believe you, and I think my default is to believe you. But this is the same issue I'm having now with a company like Snowflake, although I'm turning the corner around on that one to be talked about in the future episode. As a non-expert, meaning as an interested investor who could read whatever, there's some amount that I could inform myself about, but when there's a paradigm break or shift, I'm not going to know. You're not going to know. And so, right, the thesis is like...
Some things are like, it's not they're self-evident, but some things just make sense. Like AI is like processing that runs on data and then draws like inferences through statistical models, essentially. So you need the data. And if you haven't got the data, like you've got all this clever stuff, but it's got nothing to work on. So if you've got all your corporate data, it's got to live somewhere. Like it could live literally in like a bunch of documents and spreadsheets, but that's not how businesses operate. Like they have systems of record. Maybe it's like Snowflake, maybe it's MongoDB, maybe it's someone else, but someone else is going to provide like the fabric just to store all of your information. Even simply, right, like your list of customers and like their contact details and what they've bought and stuff like that, right? Your inventory, your stock, your everything, like the whole business. And so many companies use Snowflake for that. Like AI isn't trying to replace that stuff. It's trying to use that data and then do interesting things with it to like process it in some way to give you some smart output. So I think companies, someone, I don't know if it's Snowflake or someone else, like someone is super safe because they have like the thing that partners with the LLMs to deliver the business outcome.
That makes sense. I'm translating it in my monkey mind as network effect, almost like that's the unbreachable moat. Like I remain agnostic as to what an individual company can or can't do on their own. And so I'll side with you for now, but I'm putting an asterisk next to in 5 years, I don't know. The rate, I don't know. Put it this way. In actionable terms, I would not make any company that depends on, call it software as a service, more than, say, 10%, no matter what.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah,
which is a solid rule anyway, right?
Look at Monkey suddenly doing like portfolio discipline and managing his allocations. Not like, I'm 80% in EOS because, fucking why not?
Well, when the pitch is so fat and juicy and your bat is so big, you gotta.
We did chat because we've just closed out the year in review, and we did chat about should we do like the new questions for next year, and we're going to put them in a whole episode. I think we'll do them later. But one of the questions Krzysztof suggested was who will have a better 2025 King of the Jungle portfolio performance. And
right, okay, so we have our peanut gallery. I don't know who's still with us after all these drinking shenanigans. But let's pause here and see what the peanut gallery has to say before we pipe in. I'm curious to hear your answer on this question because you're an honest man. You're an honest badger. You call it. Oh, Serge is still on his coffee.
Who's going to win like round two? I guess that's the question. Who's going to win round two of the King of the Jungle?
Although this is a long fair because I'm up an obscene amount at this moment, though obviously that could change quite quickly.
So while we're waiting to see what our Patreons think, who's And there is one. Do we have your one team, like your monkey tier member here? I'm not sure who the monkey is. There is one. We do have a special Patreon tier where you can be like Team Badger or Team Monkey. It's a relatively expensive tier, and it's like, really showing your allegiance. There are no badgers, sadly, but there is one monkey. I don't know if one of you is one monkey is on the call with us now.
I bet you that's my mom.
Well, our Patreons on the call with us today, Paolo and Barry, both believe the ball is firmly in your court. It certainly is right now. I'm not going to concede right now, but I would like you to see you win it, because if I just walk away with this year after year, it ain't going to be much of a podcast.
Yeah, no, especially since we're thinking of this as a minimum of a 10-year journey, like some gaps are too large to overcome, but it's nice that things are getting closer.
Yep. Serge says 2025 will be the year of the monkey. Radical bets are going to win.
Radical. Yeah. These are seasoned, well-researched, fundamental valuation.
Paolo says he hopes I win because his portfolio is quite similar to mine.
Not too late, Paolo, to make some.
You know what? I don't mind not winning as long as I beat the market. That's always my objective year after year. If Krzysztof can, he's the thing about the King of the Jungle. It's kind of a shit challenge, to be honest, because it's way too short term to be meaningful. Like a year is nothing, right? It's a blink of an eye as an investor. And I said this to Krzysztof like a year ago when we were starting a thing. Like, it doesn't really make sense, like doing this year thing. It's going to be a coin flip. Like I said, I'm going to manage my King of the Jungle portfolio just like I manage my real portfolio and make it similar. And I'm going to apply the same principles, and I should deliver like approximately a 20-something% CAGR, because that's what I've always delivered. And I'm like, but I know you're going to do this wild shit, and it's just going to be like, it's like playing against someone who's like at the roulette table. They're either going to go broke or they're just going to do really well. It's just like luck, right? So it was coin flipping, and your coin flips came in tails for you last year, but now they're coming in heads.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with that, but I think this is a good point to. I'm not disagreeing with, say, you're obviously the more your risk management / tolerance is more sensible, maybe, or less dramatic. But my bets were not coin flips either. So it's almost like it's almost like a false dichotomy.
Sure.
Right? Just because I made large bets, I made them because they were so deeply undervalued / all the stuff that I talked about ad infinitum. This is maybe an important point, and we talk about this all the time. In the end results are not really what matters. It's the process that matches your particular point in life that you need to be accord with. So for somebody who now is protecting your capital is as important as making it, Team Badger's portfolio is the more sensible. Right. But when you sometimes get these softball pitches, like I found in your earlier in your journey, or you have more risk tolerance, then it makes more sense to do that.
Yeah. Very good.
Right. But a coin flip means 50-50, and that's not what either of us are doing.
Okay. That's fair. Well, anyway, it's looking like a heads year for you this year anyway. I'm with you.
We're a month in, so I'm sure there'll be drastic screw ups.
All right. We're an hour and 45 minutes into our live stream. My cat is snoring just behind me. You've had many cocktails. I think the total tequila count is getting close to 10 between us. Well, you haven't been doing yours.
There's not 4 of you.
Any other stuff you want to do on our live stream event, Krzysztof, before we wrap up today?
I want to once again express my gratitude for what I'm seeing happening on our Patreon. It's always like the little community that I wanted. It's what I was going on and on about regarding 7 investing, how I want to build trust over time and the sharing of experience and knowledge and all of that. And it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen. You know, like peek behind the curtain on the YouTubes now, we're over 1,000 subscribers, right? We don't know how many of those people will be legit insiders, the way we think of them. But the people who do make it over to the Patreon side, I think that's a whole different kind of thing. And I couldn't be more pleased. Paolo, Serge, Barry, you guys are the best. Thanks for showing up. So, and I think it's going to be a great, 25, for both the ups and downs.
And thank you to all of our Patreons and anyone who's listening to the podcast. Sorry you guys couldn't join the live stream, but we were a bit disorganized and we only came up with the idea 3 or 4 days ago and then just kind of half-assed it, to be honest. And we've kind of half-assed it as we've gone and just drank ourselves, Krzysztof into oblivion because he's clearly got a very low drinking tolerance. And me into my wife's bad books because I've now got dry beer all over the floor. But the it's a fun journey and it's just nice going on it with all of you. And if you're one of the lurkers and you haven't said hello, just tweet us on X and just say, oh, hi, I'm enjoying the show, or just say, oh, I'm a Russian lady and I'm looking for, because I get so many of those in my fucking DMs, it's complete garbage.
Awesome. Yeah. So thanks everyone. You guys are the best, and looking forward to a happy holiday season and really prosperous and kick-ass 25. Happy
New Year, fellas. And this is Wall Street Wildlife. How do we normally close our episodes, Krzysztof? You can't remember. Are you ready to become a beast of an investor?
That's right. Your journey starts with Santa's pants and Santa's panties.
Yeah, it starts here. Great place to end. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
A reminder that the people on this program may hold positions in the companies that are mentioned. Buying and selling stock carries financial risk, which could include loss of capital. The views in this program should not be taken as personalized advice. Before acting on any of the information provided, listeners are encouraged to consult a financial or tax professional.